everyone. Welcome to our webinar today, or I should say Technology Partner Showcase. Insightful Accountant is your host. I am Aimee Keenan, excited for you to be here. Sorry we started a little late. We're having some technical difficulties, so we're going to go slowly through the intro and agenda, hoping that those technical difficulties clear up by the time we actually start our actual content. So today I have Plooto here to share some great insights about your mission control for AP and AR. And my slides are not advancing. Let's see. And our topic for today is how offering AP can grow your firm's revenue. So this is a very exciting topic. I'm very happy to have them on today. We are recording this. So yes, we will be sending everyone the recording after the webinar. We do have poll questions, 3 poll questions. So if you are needing a CPE credit today, we will have that poll at the end, as well as the 3 poll questions to meet the criteria for CPE. So make sure you take those and answer those questions as we run through the slides for today. This is our agenda. So obviously we're going to introduce our speakers, Hamed and Michelle, how offering AP can grow your firm. Why don't more firms offer AP? Why using a payment software for AP is beneficial, and where should AP and AR ownership live, with the firm or with the client? So we'll be diving into all of these questions and answering them for you throughout the webinar today. All right, and here are our speakers. So excited to have Michelle from Jade Consulting and Hamed from Plooto. So they'll be taking it from here, and I will be handing the reins off to them. So welcome, Hamed and Michelle, to our Technology Partner Showcase today.
Thank you so much, Aimee.
You're welcome.
I guess I'll start. I'll introduce myself. I'm Michelle from Jade Consulting. Jade Consulting is a full-service accounting, bookkeeping, and payroll firm. Our mission at Jade is to bring the human touch to accounting and provide unparalleled guidance to the entrepreneurs that we work really closely with. We're actually a fully remote team of all female, 12 women across Canada, made up of bookkeepers, accountants, and payroll specialists. And we have a robust and varied online tech stack that supports our clients. And we're super happy to be here, as Plooto happens to be at the core of that tech stack. So thank you for having us.
Everybody, I'm Hamed. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Plooto. Just a bit about myself. I'm a 2-time entrepreneur. I started my career at Bank of Montreal, where I worked with a lot of small businesses, but I wasn't a big fan of working at the bank, so I left to start a gaming company, which was eventually acquired. And one of the biggest challenges that I personally had running a small business was managing cash flow, managing payables, receivables. So after that company was acquired, it gave us the opportunity to start Plooto. And today, Plooto is used by over 10,000 businesses, which makes us really proud of what we've built. So it's really great to be here and get the opportunity to talk to you all.
Okay, it looks like we have a poll question. So let me launch the poll. Sorry, I'm trying to find it. Where's my polls? Here we go. They're buried in Zoom. Okay. I hope this matches what. Nope, it does not. Does it? Yes. How do you handle your clients? How do you and your clients handle payable payments today? So far, bank-to-bank transfers is winning. But we have a little bit of everything. Okay, here are the results. So yeah, a little bit of everything. Okay, back to you. My slides would go forward. Okay, hold on. There we go. You're muted. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, sorry about that.
That's okay.
We'll figure out Zoom one of these days, maybe on the 4th year. We'll finally figure it out. But awesome. Well, thank you so much again for having me. Today, what we want to really talk about is how offering AP and AR services actually can grow your firm's revenue. And what I really wanted to talk to you about is some of these key items that we have identified serving 10,000 small businesses and then talking to many small business owners. And one of the key things that we realize is that the biggest challenge for most small businesses is managing cash flow. And in fact, the lack of cash flow or poor management of cash flow leads to 82% of small businesses failing. So being a full service firm that allows you to manage the entire cycle, the financial management part of managing AP, AR, really makes your firm, competitive compared to some of the other firms that are out there. It allows you to also build a lot of great trust and instill confidence in your clients. Because what you can do for them is that you can manage a lot of those day-to-day activities, and then they can come in and we'll be talking about this a little bit more, where they can really look after approving payables or receivables, so they have that trust in you, where this has been done by someone with your expertise level. They know that there's a second eye on this. And then also what we've heard from our customers is that by managing AP, you give them a lot of time back. I can talk about this as an entrepreneur myself. When I was running my first company, I would spend my weekends, sometimes, both Saturday and Sunday, trying to figure out how much cash we had in our bank account, and managing all of that experience takes a lot of time from the entrepreneur or the small business owner. And by offering that as a service, it's really what we are hearing from our clients is that is a very high value service that you can offer to your customers. And then what we are hearing from our customers is that by offering that service, you actually, to your clients, you come across as a tech-forward business that is offering services just beyond what the basic services are that they have been offered from their other firms that they've worked with in the past. So again, this goes back to the competitiveness of your firm in the market. So that's some of the key things that we have heard. Michelle, if you want to jump in and add your thoughts to this, that'd be great.
Yeah, I was going to say, obviously, going even just into like the efficiencies of it, whether it be from the cash flow standpoint, money leaves the account once payments are approved with Plooto. So that's a huge, huge one we find with our clients. You're not sending out a check and waiting 10 to 12 to 14 days for it to potentially get to your supplier and then get cashed. And then the fact that Plooto has the two-way sync, so your payments are going right back to QuickBooks or whatever software you're using. And so that really, really helps on the efficiency side for us. We're not trying to figure out what did they write? And if they hand wrote a check, did they send us a copy of the check? Have I recorded that in my books? Or if they recorded in their books? And then we don't even know what even potentially is coming out of the bank. So that two-way sync really offers that extra efficiency as well, even further.
That's great. Thank you. So if we can move to the next slide. Yeah, thank you so much. So the other thing that we just want to highlight are some of our clients, some of our success stories. We have hundreds of firms on Plooto managing thousands of clients. When we go to our clients and we ask them what are the key benefits that you're receiving from offering APAR service to your clients, some of our clients that we've highlighted here mention that things like increasing revenue, allowing the firm to be a full APAR, a full service firm to their clients, and some of the other benefits that we've mentioned here. But I think what I would love to hear is from Michelle to talk about, some of the benefits that you're seeing by offering the full APAR experience to your customers.
So I would say the biggest one is when you talk about being a full service firm, we actually become very embedded. We really are their financial team. We become part of their team. We talk about being sticky with our clients. It's because we're so embedded as part of their team. They need us, they rely on us, and obviously we want to help them grow and be successful in the best way possible. And again, obviously my quote is about cash flow, because we had some clients who, by implementing Plooto, we really did get them from places where they had no idea what was happening. They were always they had 12 different reports they were trying to run to make up a cash flow forecast and things like that. And by just putting something like this in place, it really helped us strategize when the money came out. I'll talk a little bit further about it and further on in the slides, but exactly how we've put this in place. But systematizing when they're sending money out so that it's not just willy-nilly, oh, I got this bill. A lot of small entrepreneurs think, oh, I get the bill, I should just send an email money transfer today. And it's not thinking in that scaling business owner mentality.
Totally. And I think I keep going back to what you mentioned, Michelle, which is poor management of cash flow is the number one reason why small businesses fail. Because they just simply don't have an idea of what they can afford and can't afford, and that leads them to making decisions that are wrong for the business in some cases. And if you were to dig into that to understand what is cash flow, the accounts payable and accounts receivable are the lifeblood of cash flow. I mean, cash flow can get more complex for larger scaling businesses, but for most small businesses, AP and AR makes the significant majority of how they manage their cash flow. So understanding that and having that visibility really puts your firm ahead of many other firms out there by offering not just day-to-day activities, but also giving the insights to your customers, which can be really powerful.
Definitely.
So one of the things that today we want to also cover is, well, if it's so good, why don't more firms offer APAR services if it's so valuable? So what we've done is that we talked to a lot of our customers and we've asked them, well, why is it that you offer it to, don't offer it, or maybe if you offer it, you only offer it to a small percentage of your clientele, versus some of our more successful firms where they've implemented this across the entire firm and across their entire customer base. So these are some of the reasons that we're seeing. And the number one is just the investment to get started. A lot of firms don't have a standardized pack of an app stack, and they also may not have the capacity to sit down and put that together. And then there's a lot of apps out there, right? So it's which app do I use? Do I use one app like Plooto that does many different things, or do I, get a bunch of different ones? And then that rabbit hole, going down that rabbit hole to understand every single app out there can be really daunting. So that's one that we've heard. Michelle, I would love to get your perspective on the next ones as well.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, so when this question came up, I actually said, specifically around Plooto, I actually said, I'm actually not sure why somebody wouldn't put Plooto in place. Number one, it's a 30-day free trial. So for us, once you do get into having that tech stack and knowing that this is part of it, knowing that you can try it out. And if you don't love it, I have to tell you, though, we have asked clients to try it out. We haven't had anybody come back to us after the 30 days and go, you know what, I don't really want to use this anymore. It has yet to have that effect on any of our clientele. It really is, though, try it out for yourselves. We often say that we do that with most of our apps. We'll try it for ourselves. So when we put in something else, if it's going to be a reporting software, a document management software, we try it out for ourselves first. and then we utilize that and see, does it help us? And which is great, because with Plooto, you can also automate. So if you do have clients on value pricing, you could actually do the direct pad withdrawal from their accounts for yourself as well. So from your own firm end. And again, I think Plooto is really like plug and play. So when again, it's like the capacity to actually put it in place. It is really, really easy to make happen from a get-go. But really, it's getting into a habit. We set up a system with our clients. And again, once you do that, most of our clients, it looks something like, we would say to our clients, we'll send you an AP report directly out of your accounting software. So it'll come to you by Excel. Some of them will mark up that file. Some of them will utilize that and then go into Plooto and know that those bills are already set up in Plooto, and come back and just go into their Plooto and go click, 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 pay. And they've already done it and approved it if they're the approver. Some of them will send the AP file back to us. Some of us will actually have a call and we'll review it in depth. But we do this really systematically. So some of our big clients, we've got a weekly call or a weekly report out to them. Other clients, we say 10th and 25th of the month is like the best days to do your AP, because if you set it up on the 10th and the 25th, it means by the 15th and the last day of the month, your suppliers will have their funds. And so if you just say to somebody, again, it's getting really confident. I actually have to say there's a little bit of confidence has to go behind it. And you just get really confident saying, well, there's no accounting emergencies, right? Like, and if you do have to do a spec run on AP, you can always pop in and just do it. But otherwise, it stays within that process on these specific days. And you say to somebody, you know what, you missed our run. We actually did it on the 10th and our next one's on the 25th. Your bill will get paid that day and guaranteed funds will be in your account on the 30th. So we just find really like systematizing those sort of dates, whether it is every Tuesday we pop in there because those are our big clients that need to do weekly AP, or those clients that have that sort of, let's call it 10th and 25th, twice a month processing, or some clients are even just on a once a month and they want to have payments out for the last day. So we do it always around the 20th to 25th. They get a report. We go in, we go click, 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 pay, and they get the approvals depending on how they want to set it up. We don't actually like to, from our perspective, we don't want to move our clients' money. So we love Plooto for the approval process.
Yeah, and that's a great transition into the next key area where we hear from our customers why they don't want to manage other firms' payments, and the answer to that is they don't want to have that that responsibility within the firm, and we totally get that. And we spend a lot of time thinking about like, how do we ensure that liability is not with the firm, that liability is actually with Plooto, because we are the ones that are managing the movement of money. And we spend a lot of time and resources to think about how do we make sure that you as a firm are protected, and we have a lot of controls and approvals that we have built to mitigate that. So when it comes to risk of managing somebody else's payments, that's where a platform like Plooto would really, really shine, because of the controls and because of the permissions that are built into the platform to ensure that your firm or your employees within the firm, if you don't want them to have access to certain clients, you can remove that. If you don't want them to see certain things or be able to approve payments, you can control and then set up all of those permissions. So it's a topic that comes up a lot, but then when we explain how you can mitigate this, eliminate the risk, but still get the benefits of being a full service firm by offering the AP and AR experience to your clients, then I think that's where like it clicks for a lot of people.
Yeah, I was going to say, you don't have to be a full service firm for people by taking your client's debit card number and their bank login details and moving money for them there by doing their email money transfers. You can use something like Plooto in place of that. So again, you're taking that risk off you and your team and your firm. Yeah, definitely.
You know, it's what's so funny that you mentioned that, because like we actually used to hear that all the time, where the accounting firm or the bookkeeping firm says, oh, we just have access to their credentials and we log in on their behalf. And to me, you know, like thinking about controls, that would just like it just blows my mind to hear that some people do that. So with Plooto, that is obviously not something that you would ever have to think about doing. But I would love to talk about some of the solutioning around some of the key items that our customers have highlighted as well. why they're not offering APAR services. So we talked about that initial investment that is required to put Plooto and some of these other platforms in place. And Michelle talked about the need for putting the processes together. But the way that we look at getting started is there are some very standardized processes and apps that you can put together. And one of the key things that we do at Plooto is think about how can we bring more and more and more of the processes that your firm does manually into our platform. So you don't need to go and do it on a different platform or on a different solution. An example of that is when you have to send checks, pay CRA or other government entities, and at the same time be able to send international payments to international vendors. Traditionally, this would have been 3 different platforms, where Plooto now does all of that. And by bringing your clients to the platform and getting them just started, the initial investment pays off very quickly once you have embedded Plooto into your workflow. You have set up the right people on your team to manage that experience, and then the explaining the benefits to your clients. So if you have that set up initially with, this is how we get onboarded, and this is the single owner that's going to help your client do that. I think that once you get that done a couple of times, then it becomes a really standardized part of your process. We'd love to, Michelle, your perspective on this, on how you've implemented that, and some of the tactics you've used to streamline that process for your clients.
Yeah, so sort of talking about, obviously, like I talked a little bit already about like how frequently we do it, sort of, which is in the next part. But we always just say to our clients, like the only commitment we really have from them is just when they get a supplier bill, is to actually ask for that first time they get from that supplier, is to get that void check, to get that email address. But that is it. One time they've asked that for that, and we have access to that information, we take care of putting that in. So again, usually if we have that specific days of the week or the specific times of the month that we're going to do that, one of our team members will ensure sort of all those payees are in Plooto. And so as soon as, whether they're going in again and hitting the check pay, or we're doing it, it's all set up and they're ready to go. So that is the only ask. And we're like, it only takes just a reply email. We have some of our clients, if we are doing a brand new client and we're setting up Plooto right on day one when we're onboarding them, we actually will send them, Plooto has, in case anybody doesn't know, Plooto has a PDF form that you actually can collect that direct debit information on. So we'll send them that, and we'll even type them up an email. We just have a standard email template. We send it to them and we ask them to just BCC all of their suppliers that they potentially have and request that information. And as they get it, they send it back to us and we set it up for them. So they can just do a bulk collection of sort of void checks or direct deposit information. Our team is also really well versed in looking for that information. So you get, most of the tax accountants and lawyers out there actually do have their direct deposit information right on their bills. And so our team, when they're processing a bill to put it into QuickBooks AP, they'll actually look for that information and know and just go and set that up, so that the client can't even say to us, oh, I'm going to send an email money transfer. We go, no, we've already got them set up there for you. They had their information available to us. And we just go that extra mile, again, just to making sure that they don't have an opportunity to write that check or do that email money transfer, circumventing our system. So, and one of the big things, sorry, I'm just going to add, actually, one of the big things I will say, our clients don't use the manual payments in Plooto, almost never. If a bill is not in the accounting system, they are to pay it. It means we didn't receive it. We didn't set it up for them. So it's actually really helped our full accounting picture, because they're not going and paying something that we didn't have a bill for, which we were finding a lot, like email money transfers. How many times do you see an email money transfer in the bank feed and you have no idea who that $3,000 max went to? We always make sure we have the bill first, and only once the bill is in can they set up a payment in Plooto for it. So it actually has helped a bigger picture than just the AP side of things.
For sure. No, that is absolutely correct. And I think talking about risk and reducing the risk on your firm and as well as the liability that you're taking on, that's where Plooto can also significantly help because there's no more who did we send this check to and who signed this check and why did we pay this? Because you have an audit trail in Plooto where you can go and say, okay, I set up this payment for you, or somebody on my team set up the payment, and then you approved it, and then your business partner also approved it. So two signatures before this went out to the vendor. You can run your reports. You can set up approvals and based on limits and based on bank accounts. So these are things that you just simply could not do in the past. And you had to rely on a lot of manual processes, and every time you get a payment that goes out without an invoice. I'm not sure if how many of your clients go through audit, but one of the first things that auditors look for is for transaction samples, and think about the process that you would be required to go through, or the time it would take to go through and find a $2,500 invoice for something you paid like a year ago. Whereas at Plooto, you could just like search for it and instantly get access to the audit trail, to the history of that payment. The invoices are imported, so you have all of that information available in one place, which just makes the your life and also your value to your clients so much more because you are that trusted source that they can go back to for any questions that they have. You are that trusted source that that they can rely upon, and in a world of bookkeeping and accounting services, that is paramount. So with that in mind, I'll pass that over for, I believe we have a poll.
Yes. Yes, we do. What is your biggest hesitancy for implementing APAR services for your clients? Okay, we will end the poll and show you the results. Looks like needing to chase clients for payment approvals and tracking payments and receivables are the top two. Thank you, everyone. Ahmed,
You're muted.
You're muted again.
Oh, sorry about that. We're not a Zoom shop. We're Microsoft Teams, and Zoom is playing trickery on me today. So with that in mind, but we just want to thank you for changing the slide. So I think we talked a lot about the reasons today, and one thing that I just thought that was very interesting that I wanted to quickly touch upon was chasing clients for payments. That's actually something that Plooto really shines in, and not having to chase clients for signatures and payment information is one of the key things. So with that in mind, I am going to pass that over to Caroline, who can explain the benefits of Plooto significantly better than I can. So Caroline, are you on?
Oh, sorry. We're actually just going to jump over to Michelle, I believe, to touch the points.
Yeah, I can talk a little bit about this. I mean, definitely on the cost savings end. So Plooto with their monthly fee, just even the per transaction fee is way less than an email money transfer would be for any client. The biggest savings we find with Plooto, actually, we do a ton of international wires to clients, and Plooto's fee is by far a huge savings when it comes to wires internationally compared to what the banks are doing. And then even, again, going back to the worry about tracking those payments, trying to track or match a wire payment, sometimes the bank will add their wire fee on top of the payment, or they'll take it out net of the payment. So when you're seeing it in the bank, it's not always a direct match. So with Plooto, again, and you just that two-way sync happening with QuickBooks, where it's marking the bill paid and the transactions going into the clearing account and the withdrawal happens, it's all super easy to track and things like that. Obviously, professionalize your service to be able to be confident in saying this is how we do things, and this is the service offering we have. Definitely allows our client to feel confident with their service with us. And again, it just sort of embeds us further into their financial team, making them trust us even more as that trusted advisor. And then again, just that efficiency with the two-way sync. There's no manual work. It's click, 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 pay, whether we do it or clients do it. And that information flows back and forth between the two accounting systems. It's just a matter of reconciling our clearing account at the end of the month. And that's just more part of our process to ensure everything did come across. Nobody slipped in a manual payment or a CRA payment that didn't get picked up. But otherwise, all those transactions are there. It's just a click and reconcile to zero, and the clearing account is cleared as well at the end of the month. So definitely that sort of even goes back to the top of the cost savings. Is it saving you time for your team members who are working on it? So
totally. And I think that's the more I think going back to the number one reason why this is not the service that is offered, and the initial investment that is required. One of the key things about scaling is having these processes in place. So once you implement this, the less and less time you're going to be spending chasing a lot of these things, which allows you to offer additional value add services to your clients, the things that they really look for, such as insights and visibility into the performance of their organization. And so eliminating a lot of these manual activities will immediately add to your bottom line of the additional time savings that you're going to have to be able to offer those high value add services to your clients. And just want to go to the next slide, because this is a question that we get a lot from our customers: is where should AP and AI ownership live? Is it with the firm or is it with the client? So Michelle, I would love to get your perspective on this.
It's very funny because I think there's another slide, and I had said this even before when I was chatting about this, was definitely both, right? I mean, obviously the obviously we as the accounting firm, right, we're going to handle the connection. We're going to handle the ensuring the AP is there for them to set up payments for, whether they're actually the ones going into Plooto, we're the ones doing it. Again, it really does depend. We have some entrepreneurs who love being in charge of it and know that every Friday they want to go in and they want to pay their bills, and they want to know that that list of AP items is clear in their AP listing in Plooto. We have others where, again, we handle it, we set it up, and we have a specific day that we do it, but that we know who's responsible for what, and we actually make sure that that's sort of known in our initial onboarding with our clients, who's going to handle which part and up to what point. So, and then it comes back to that approval. At the end of the day, it's their responsibility to approve the money movement out of their bank account. And so we handle the responsibility up to that point, and then they approve it to let it go and release those funds.
Absolutely. And I think having those multiple users and having all of that workflow defined initially when you onboard the client, it really allows you to to have that split between responsibility with your clients and have that discussion with your client to say, okay, our firm is going to offer the following services, and we're going to set up the payment. We're going to have that there for you to approve, and then you can come in and approve that. So just like having that delineation of responsibility also allows your firm to scale and at the same time keep your client in the know, because as Michelle mentioned, some entrepreneurs love doing that, just to go in there and see what's going on. I still to this day, I approve all of our payments above a certain amount. So having that ability really helps. And I think the other thing is connecting clients to your account, which Michelle would love to give your perspective on that.
Yeah, so we have obviously we have our firm account, and then it's been so easy whether we're creating them from scratch or if we did have clients come to us that already had a Plooto account, it's so easy. And then to assign our team members into those client accounts. Again, some of our team members, if they're more junior team members, they might be able to set up those payments, but we're not going to let them have ability to set up new users or change the approval process. That might only be myself or my partner or one of our senior level team members. But it's so easy. And again, I love it because even I can pop in. I have 2 or 3 that I like to manage. And so I will pop in and I can toggle between the 3 different clients that I have to manage on any given Tuesday, let's just say. And I can go into one, I set up those payments, I hit send off those for approval, pop into the next one on the list. And it's so easy just to toggle between them. So it's, again, if you have that system in place and you know that Thursday's AP day, you go through all of them and you don't have to, you're not popping in and out and logging into somewhere else. Plooto's made it really, really easy visibility wise to just get into those different places. And then even further, that you did touch on this before, but we didn't really talk about that Plooto does bring that document across. So if you did have the bill attached to the transaction, and again, I'm talking about QuickBooks, but if you had the attachment there, that bill is there. So if you're the last person approving it and you're only approving things over $10,000, you actually can visibly see, the business owner can see the bill that's attached in PDF there. And so they don't have to go back to the accounting system to look at it. They don't have to ask you to resend them those invoices that they want paid. It's actually attached to the transaction, and that really makes it even easier for them to just pop in there when they get the approval email, and they can see exactly what they're approving payment on. So
for sure, and velocity to decision making is an important part of scaling any organization. And the faster you can get to that decision, just because like you have all of that information right there for you to be able to make that decision, really, really helps. Because if you think about, you approve 30 payments a month, multiply that by like having to find every invoice and every line item and all the details associated, and did my partner approve this, or did the firm set this up correctly? Like just having all of that information across multiple payments over the quarters or years really, really adds up.
Okay, we have our next poll. What do you look for when selecting an AP and AR platform? And you can choose more than one. Looks like two-way sync to accounting software is number 1. I will end the poll. Share your results. So there you go.
For sure, 80%, definitely. And also having both AP and AR on the same platform. And I think that's another value of a platform such as Plooto, is that you don't need multiple different providers and services to be able to manage your AP and AR, because to your client, payables payables is just one thing, right? Like there's no difference between check printing and paying CRA and paying international bills. It's all part of payable, and not having to have multiple different platforms for managing both AP as well as AR, which is revenue collection, really makes you stand out again as a tech savvy firm. So with that in mind, I think this time I'm going to get it correct, which is I'm going to pass it over to Caroline.
Yes. Yeah, thank you. And hi, everyone. Thank you so much to Michelle and Hamed for that amazing and informative presentation. I'm Caroline Cape, and I'm a product adoption specialist here at Plooto. And while today we've discussed some of the great benefits of offering AP services and the many tips for integrating the services into your firm's processes, I now want to discuss what that process looks like specifically within Plooto to assist in achieving seamless payment processing. And it's great to see that two-way sync is so valuable to you all, because that's really where it all begins. It starts with the ability to integrate your accounting software directly to Plooto. We are proud partners of two of the leading accounting softwares, both QuickBooks and Xero, that offer seamless integration for automatic reconciliation. Once the accounting software is connected, you are then able to import your contacts, bills, and invoices, and as we've talked about, store your clients' bank details in a secure platform to start initiating payments. You can then choose which payables or receivables you want to send out. And again, as we've mentioned a few times, even initiate approval tiers for each payment when they're being sent. Funds are then credited and debited from your bank account. And here's where the magic really happens. And one of the biggest benefits of automation is with the two-way sync that we've been talking about. Plooto will then automatically mark the bills and invoices as paid, saving you time and effort when reconciling your books, which again, we've talked lots about today as a huge benefit of automation. You can just move to the next slide. Perfect. Yeah. And that does conclude our presentation today. I'd like to thank you all for your time and for joining us here today. If you want to learn more about Plooto, I do urge you to book a demo. You can scan that QR code on the slide, and you'd be able to book a demo with either myself or some of my other colleagues on our adoption team to get more of an end-to-end walkthrough of exactly what Plooto is and how it can work for your firm. If you do have some specific questions directly to us, feel free to contact us either via email or phone. And I'll now pass it back to Aimee to moderate a bit more of our Q&A session if you had any questions.
Sure. And let me launch our CPE poll so that way we know who needs CPE after this webinar today. But if you do have questions, feel free to put them in the Q&A or the chat, and we will ask you, get them now. So feel free to put those in. Any questions, either for any of our wonderful speakers that we had today? Feel free to ask away. You have their undivided attention.
Sounds like we were really good. Yeah.
Pricing for nonprofits,
No
somebody's asking. They joined late and they wanted to know if there's pricing.
Pricing for nonprofits, my suggestion is that you guys book a time with us. We have different pricing for different entities, so our team can get a better understanding of your firm and see what is the ideal pricing package that can be offered. One thing that I can say is that non-for-profits are actually one of the biggest group of customers that we have on Plooto, as a percentage of our total customer base. And the reason for it goes back to that control and having the right authority over payments before they get sent out. And now with everybody or most people working remote or from different locations, that just makes it so much more of a breeze to be able to just get that notification that payments are outstanding, and you can log in, and 2 or 3 people in fact can log in and and approve those, and you can see who approved it. We actually have this really cool feature that allows, like, you can set up 5 approvers, but then you can say only 2 are required before a payment goes out. So that just like makes your life so much easier, because you don't have to, going back to the poll we had in terms of biggest challenge, chasing your clients for approvals. They don't need to do that, because like once 2 out of 5 gets approved, then that payment goes out.
And sorry, I was going to add, for not-for-profits, one of the big things we find with our not-for-profits is the board of directors is ever changing. And so a lot of times the change at the bank takes a lot longer. You might have an ED who's in place and they might have signatory in the bank, but to actually get the treasurers or the board director, whoever it might be, approval changed at the bank, at least at Plooto, we can get that set up almost instantly for the approvals when we have new changes in boards of directors.
Totally. And just being able to remove someone and add someone new, like within a couple of seconds, is really helpful. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that.
Why not just use QuickBooks Bill Pay?
That's a great question. And I think we get this all the time. I think what it really comes down to is the level of complexity that you need, right? Like if you have 1 or 2 payments or 1 or 2 receivables, a basic option like QB payments is a great choice. But the moment you need to manage your entire practice, you need to manage all the controllers, to manage all the different payment types, both on the payable and receivable, then you need a more sophisticated platform at a reasonable cost. And that's where Plooto comes in. So I think you get a lot of, as the first poll showed, a lot of customers also use their bank, right? They do EFT payments, bank-to-bank transfers, Interac. So there's a lot of options available out there to be able to pay someone or receive payments from somebody. But at the end of the day, it comes down to how much time do you want to spend managing the complexities associated with accounts payable and accounts receivable. And if you want to set it and forget it, then Plooto is the option, whereas other solutions, you might hit a ceiling depending on different clients and different needs, whereas Plooto scales from very small all the way to medium-sized businesses. Michelle, the only thing
I was going to add to that was, again, we're dealing with a lot of clients who are dealing globally now these days, especially as we move more into the e-commerce fields and things like that. And Plooto has the ability to send payments to, I don't remember how many countries it is now across the world, that we can send payments in so many different currencies. We're not just operating in CAD and USD. It's hundreds of currencies. We have like, I don't know, 6 or 8 or 10 different currencies in some of our files that we're operating in. And that's not going to limit us. And again, then it goes to those multiple approvals depending on those things, those currencies or those amounts of money that we're moving, that Plooto allows all those things for us.
That's absolutely true. And then the other thing that I just want to add is that you have one place to go with Plooto, right? Like if you have any questions about payments, or like, where's my payment, or like QuickBooks or other providers have outsourced the service to another company and they're simply white labeling the solution. So they don't know where your payment is if it goes missing. Whereas like we are directly integrated with our banking partners. So we have the right contacts, we have the right people. So it's really just about scaling efficiently and setting it and forgetting it, because you have one place to go and one owner for it. Whereas with a lot of other providers, that is not the case.
Does Plooto sync with QuickBooks Desktop?
I can actually.
Yes, we do. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, yeah.
Yeah. We do, like Med said, and it's fairly similar to both the QuickBooks Online or Xero experience. The only difference is for QuickBooks Desktop, you do need to download a web connector that will connect your QuickBooks account and your Plooto account together. And then instead of the automatic sync happening, you do just need to go into your web connector every time you log into Plooto, update it. And then otherwise, the entire experience is the exact same and you'll be seeing up-to-date information. If you did want to learn more, I encourage you to either book a demo or send us an email just with further questions, and we'd be happy to answer any of those as well.
What is the turnaround time on payments, and is there a rush option?
We do have a rush capability. The timeline depends on the different types of payments that you have. So if you're sending a bank-to-bank transfer, then it typically takes between 3 to 5 business days, depending on which banks are involved. So the larger banks, it gets processed faster, whereas like if it's going to a smaller credit union, then it doesn't get settled the same way. So it goes through a different route, and that might take up to 5 business days. What we do have an option is called Plooto Instant. So think of Plooto Instant as a wallet where you can fund pre-fund transactions. So what we have is a lot of our customers, they look at the liability that they have to fund, and they basically fund the Plooto Instant account once a week or once a month, and they have enough cash to do next day payments. So if you have a good grasp of your cash requirements, which our hope is that with Plooto you're able to do that, then you can just pre-fund the Plooto Instant account on a regular basis, and that allows you to do next day payments. But if you don't want that and you just want to connect bank to bank transfer, then it's between 3 to 5 business days.
Would there be an option to check the account balance before setting up the payment in Plooto?
That's a really great question. We actually have that ability. We don't expose it to customers. It is something that we have heard about from a number of customers. So it is something that we'll work on. What I can tell you that it's not exposed to customers, but it is if you directly link your bank, it's something that we can do. But that's a great feedback for us, because we're all about reducing the time it takes for you to make your decisions. And I think that would absolutely help, so you don't have to log into your bank.
And the last question, is there a component to prepare the actual AR for our clients?
I am not sure if I understand that question, Michelle. Like, do you have any thoughts on like maybe elaborate?
No, I don't fully understand the question. I mean, I do know, obviously, like if you're doing AR, it's similar to the AP, it does sync. So if you were to click the sync from QuickBooks, your AR, obviously you would want to have your invoices in QuickBooks. You've sent them to your clients, and then those invoices then show up in Plooto for you. You can again click, and then you send them out for, and if the client has done a pre-authorized debit agreement already and they're already set up in Plooto, it will withdraw the funds from their account and settle in your account in 3 to 5 days. And if not, then it will send them an email for them to put in their banking credentials for them to, and then potentially set up the pre-authorized with debit agreement for future payments, so that again, that can be automated. One thing that we didn't mention, I'm just going to mention really quick too, we often will preset up payments in advance as well. I think there was a question about like a one-time payment that came up. And so we actually can pre-schedule payments. So if you know for the first of the month you want your rent to go out, we can actually set it up on October 27th. We can set it up so the rent will go out on pull on like the 28th or whatever it is, and it will hit the supplier's bank account on the first of the month or something like that. And we often do that. We'll pre-set up our payments in Plooto in advance for clients.
Totally. And because of our two-way sync, both AP and AR work the same way. So like if you have invoices or bills from the accounting software, it pulls everything in, and then you can just say, I want to pay this one or that one, and then send it out. The system is also intelligent. So if you do a split payment, it knows that it's a split payment and actually splits that invoice for you and creates a new one, and then applies half the payment or whatever the payment that you've made to that invoice. So you don't need to go and split it and apply the credit and do all of that work. It's all automated for you.
Well, that's so many questions. Thank you so much for getting through all those. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today for our webinar. Thank you, Plooto. Thank you, Michelle from Jade. We're very excited that you were here to join us. And we will be sending out the recording, the slides, and we will get all the questions to our Plooto team. In case you have any more, feel free to reach out to them as well. So thank you.
Thanks
so much.
Have a great day, everyone.